All right, let's get right into it. Pretty soon, everyone's going to be talking about one thing, the new inflation number. They're all waiting for this big reveal, thinking it's going to tell them what to do next. But here's the thing, the real secret. For the people moving billions of dollars, the big moves have already been made.
So next Wednesday, that CPI report is going to hit the headlines. Your phone will probably buzz, the markets will jump around, but you have to understand, that's just the last scene of a play that's been going on for weeks. The real action, where billions of dollars quietly find a new home, that's already happened.
So the puzzle we're going to solve today isn't about guessing that headline number. I mean, that's just a prediction game. The real puzzle, the one that tells you what's actually going on under the hood of the economy, is figuring out where all that smart money went. Because that trail, it tells a heck of a story.
What did they see that wasn't making front-page news? What signals were they reading that made them shift so much capital before any of the official data came out? That's what we're going to unpack.
To really get where we're going, we've got to take a quick look back at where we've just been. Let's pull apart last month's number because there's more to it than meets the eye.
So, this was the number everyone saw for January, 2.4%. On the surface, it looked pretty good, right? It was lower than December. The headlines were all saying inflation is cooling. It felt like a collective sigh of relief. And for most people, that's where the story ended.
But that headline number, it was really just the tip of the iceberg. Underneath, a totally different story was playing out. Food prices were still climbing at almost 3%. Shelter costs were just stuck. And here's a big one. Companies were finally running out of the cheaper stuff they'd stockpiled before all the tariffs hit. One institute actually estimates that alone could tack on another 0.5% to inflation. Then you throw in oil creeping up towards $90 a barrel, and suddenly you've got a very different picture. The headline looked calm, but the current underneath was moving fast.
So if that was the real situation, who was paying attention? Well, this is where we follow the money. And the data tells all.
And this just shows you the divide perfectly. In January, $34 billion walked out of U.S. stock funds. That was the 9th month in a row, by the way. At the exact same time, $7.5 billion poured into natural resources. Now that isn't just a big number, that is the largest single monthly inflow into that category ever. So let's break it down a bit more. I mean, look at this scale here. A massive $91 billion in taxable bonds. But check out the theme, right? $7.5 billion to natural resources, $6 billion to gold, $7 billion to materials, $5.6 billion to energy. This is not money chasing hype. This is money looking for real, tangible stuff that tends to hold up when inflation becomes a problem.
Okay, and even inside that huge wave of cash going into bonds, there's a really important clue. All that money piled into short and medium-term bonds for safety, but it ran away from long-term treasuries. So what's that telling us? It says investors wanted to park their cash somewhere safe, but they were afraid of duration risk. Basically, they were betting that interest rates weren't going to fall anytime soon, which would make those long-term bonds less valuable. And you've got to understand, this wasn't just a quick trade. When a firm that tracks this stuff sees billions flowing into inflation-protected bonds and calls the move not tactical but structural, that's a massive signal. We're talking about pension funds, big insurance companies. They don't just make billion-dollar bets on a whim. They do it when they think the whole game is changing.
Then, right at the end of the month, this whole trend just went into overdrive. Look at this flip. One week, commodity funds see over $2 billion flowing out. The very next week, it flips to a massive $5.6 billion flowing in. And what was happening right then? Geopolitical tensions were making oil prices spike. The smart money wasn't just early, it was doubling down right before the next inflationary wave was about to hit.
Okay, so that's all the market stuff. But this isn't just about charts and fund flows. This is the part where the story jumps off the trading screen and lands right in your daily life. So here's how this chain reaction really works. $90 oil doesn't just stay in the oil market. It means you pay more at the gas station, which means it costs more to fuel every single truck, plane, and ship that delivers everything we buy. And guess who pays for that? We do. At the same time, all those tariffs start adding a few cents here, a dollar there, to hundreds of items. It's kind of like a two-front war on your wallet.
And here's why this is so important. Right now, on paper, wages are going up by about 3.8% a year, which sounds good. But if inflation is running hotter than that, your actual buying power is going down. You get a raise, but you can afford less. That's the classic paycheck squeeze.
This brings us to a really key difference. That official CPI number that comes out next week, it's a lagging indicator. It's a formal report card on what prices were doing last month. But your grocery receipt, your gas bill,
That's your real-time indicator. That's the here and now. The smart money was betting on your receipt, not on the government report.
So, knowing all this, how can you start to see these patterns for yourself? Let's put together a little toolkit.
Let's just put it all in one place. Think of this as a simple scoreboard based on all the public data we just looked at. Money is moving into real assets, stuff you can touch, like natural resources, energy, commodities. It's also going into safer, inflation-protected bonds. And it's moving out of broad U.S. stocks, especially growth stocks, and those long-term bonds.
And there is a very clear logic to all of this. The things gaining money are all things that either do well when prices are rising or are specifically designed to protect you from it. The things losing money, they're the opposite. They get hurt by higher interest rates and their value is all based on what they might earn way down the road, which inflation just eats away at. It's a coherent strategy.
And now, this is where it gets really powerful. You can take what we learned today and stack it with other frameworks. You start with this first layer. Where's the big money going? Then you can add other lenses on top of it, like looking at it through a stagflation filter, or asking how different businesses will hold up. Each layer you add just makes the picture clearer.
And really, that's the main takeaway here. The most valuable signal wasn't the one that was about to flash across your screen. It was hiding in plain sight weeks ago in all that publicly available data. The trick is just knowing how to read the structure of the market instead of just reacting to the news.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. When that number does drop on Wednesday and the talking heads are all debating whether it's hot or cold, you'll already know the bigger story. You've already seen where the smart money placed its bets. So how does that change the way you think about what the Fed might do next?
We'll be back to break down the Fed's decision right after it happens. Because around here, we don't try to predict, we solve puzzles.